Hello everybody and welcome to Friday Flicks. Our title for this month, March 26th, is the 2009 release From Time to Time. Before we get started, this is just a quick and friendly spoiler warning that the following video and comment section will include spoilers for the film. If you haven't yet watched it, copies are available through the library's Hoopla database. From Time to Time is based off the children's novel The Children of Green Know by L.M. Boston. The film was written and directed by Julian Fellowes, the writer and producer of Downton Abbey, and stars many of the actors and actresses from the show, including Maggie Smith. The movie begins in December of 1944 in England in the waning days of World War II. A young boy named Tully has been sent by his mother to stay with his grandmother at their family manor home of Green Know. Tully's father has been reported missing in action in the war, and his mother needs to go to London in order to investigate and attempt to determine if her husband has been killed in action or taken prisoner. After arriving at Green Know, it is revealed that there has been an estrangement between Tully's family and his grandmother, as she initially thought that Tully's mother was beneath their station, and in a fit of anger wrote to her son that Tully's mother was not fit to sweep the driveway at Green Know. Though she deeply regrets the words and didn't mean them, they caused a severe rift in the family, and Tully has only been sent to her now due to the desperate times. Shortly after arriving, Mrs. Oldknow reveals that despite Green Know having been in the family for multiple generations, she can no longer afford the bills and upkeep and is being forced to sell it. Tully is distraught at the idea that Green Know, which has been a part of their family for so long, will no longer be there. Mrs. Oldknow reminds him that they have come close to losing the manor in the past, especially due to the actions of one mistress of the manor, Maria. Tully begins exploring Green Know and is intrigued when he discovers a bricked-up doorway in the dining room, and later when a young girl's crying upstairs leads into a room with several empty jewel boxes. The housekeeper, Mrs. Tweedy, explains to Tully that the bricked-up doorway used to lead to a wing that had been built onto the house for Maria, including a dining room and family rooms upstairs. The boxes had indeed held Maria's jewels, but those had been stolen from her and never recovered despite the desperate attempts of multiple generations of the family searching for them. That night, Tully is shocked when the apparition of Susan and her governess appear in his bedroom. Though Susan appears to be aware of his presence, the nurse claims that there is no one there and quickly hustles Susan out of the room. Shocked at their presence, Tully confronts his grandmother, asking her if she believes in ghosts. Mrs. Oldknow calmly replies that of course she does and asks who he's seen. When Tully admits that he saw Susan, his grandmother states that it's no wonder considering he had been asking questions about her and her family earlier. It is at this point that we begin seeing sustained flashbacks into the past. When Captain Oldknow returns home from a voyage, he is shocked to discover that Susan, who had been born blind, had been kept tethered in the single room of the house with a rope around her waist in order to avoid her potentially harming herself by wandering around. Wanting his daughter to experience as full a life as possible, he has brought home with him a young African-American boy named Jacob, who had stowed away aboard his ship to avoid the slave markets in America. Jacob and Susan quickly become friends and inseparable as Jacob looks out for her, providing protection and helping her to discover the world around her. As Tully continues to explore Green Know and attempt to discover the secrets of its past, he finds himself being drawn more and more into those past events. Although certain people are able to see him in the past, others are completely oblivious to his presence. Despite the limitations of being nearly a ghost when he visits the past, Tully is still able to affect events when he is able to provide food and his flashlight to the groundskeeper who is hiding out to avoid being sold to a press gang by John Caxton the butler and Sefton. When Tully tells his grandmother of his adventures in the past, she shows him his flashlight, showing the wear and tear of centuries, explaining to him that it had long been a mystery of the family how such a modern item had wound up hundreds of years in the past. It is the attempt by the butler Caxton and Sefton to sell the groundskeeper into his service in a press gang that finally pushes Captain Oldknow to fire Caxton from his service. Despite his insistence that Caxton be let go immediately and never again set foot in Green Knowe, Captain Oldknow was called away shortly after, and Mariah keeps Caxton on in order to provide proper staffing for a party she's holding. It is at that party that she discovers her jewels are missing, and a fire is started that burns down the wing of the house that she had built. Though the staff of the house and the guests work to save as many valuables as they can and try to contain the flames, Mariah's jewels are never recovered and Caxton is never seen again. Desperate to see her jewels returned, Mariah visits a wise woman in the woods who informs her that in order to find her wealth, she must embroider a picture of the house using the hair of everyone who had been there that night. The staff, the family, the guests, their servants, everyone. Though Mariah does manage to follow through with this demand, the picture brings her no closer to any answers, and multiple generations of the Oldknow family have no better luck determining where the jewels are. Tully, who has continued to explore Oldknow both in the past and present, is finally able to piece together the events of that night, realizing that the jewels must have been hidden in a chimney that had since been blocked off after the wing had burned down. Climbing up through a fireplace, Tully is able to enter the home's ventilation system and reach the old chimney. Once there, he finds himself confronted by the ghost of John Caxton, who stands still and silent. The ghost of Susan appears and informs him that Caxton cannot hurt him, and that he had indeed set the fire all those years ago as a distraction while he made off with the jewels and other valuables he had looted from the home. However, in his greed and desire to hurt the Oldknow family, he had miscalculated, and the fire quickly spread far beyond his control, killing him before he was able to make off with the valuables. Finding the bag of valuables, Tully is able to drop it down a different chimney accessible from the house. Hurrying his grandmother into the room, they open the bag to discover gold and silver plate and Mariah's jewels. Put together, the contents of the bag provide more than enough wealth to save Green Knowe. The discovery is bittersweet for Tully, though, as he realizes that the ghosts appear to him at the same age and time as when they died. His grandmother confirms that this is true, and the reason why Jacob and Susan appear to Tully as young children is because they died as young children shortly after the events he's witnessed. Though it is unclear exactly how they died, Mrs. Oldknow states that it was from an illness, something that, in her words, would most likely be cured today with a simple pill. Despite his sorrow that Susan and Jacob never got to grow up and take on the adventures that they had planned, Tully does find some solace in the realization that now that their stories have been told, their secrets revealed, they can find peace. As he's reflecting on all he has discovered, Tully receives word that his mother will be at Green Knowe shortly. Though he has continued to hold out hope throughout the movie that his father is alive and being held prisoner by the German army, one look at his mother's face lets Tully know that the worst has happened and his father has been killed in action. While the entire family is devastated by the news, there is a moment of hope when the spirit of Tully's father appears to both him and Mrs. Oldknow, urging them all to head inside Green Knowe together, to be a family, and that it will all be okay. Though I wouldn't say I loved this film, I did enjoy it and had a good time watching it. Maggie Smith is one of my personal favorite actresses, and I've always found that she brings a real charm and elegance to any role she plays. I did feel that the movie ended rather abruptly and would have liked to see more of a continuation, not only on how Tully, his mother and grandmother dealt with the loss of his father, but also how Sefton and Mariah and Captain Oldknow dealt with their lives and the loss of Susan and Jacob. As this movie was based off of only one novel in L.M. Boston's Green Knowe series, I would imagine that many of those answers would be found in later books that have yet to be made into films. I really like the strong theme of the importance of family throughout the movie. In the past, the marriage between Captain Oldknow and Mariah is on rocky ground, with neither one of them seeing eye to eye. Captain Oldknow states that they're just not well met, and though they thought they could get past their differences in the beginning, it is clear now that they can't. The fault may lie with either, both, or neither of them. In the end, that tension and strain is felt by their children, affecting their lives, and drives Mariah to seek validation and acceptance from those she considers her social betters. However, rather than acceptance, Mariah finds only condescension, and though she nearly loses Susan to the fire, is still obsessed with finding her jewels. In the present day, the rift between Tully's grandmother and his mother appears to only be bridged by their shared grief over the death of Tully's father. Mrs. Oldknow advises Tully that when he is older and has children of his own to never quarrel with them, that whatever the reason, it's not worth it in the end. This is a seemingly simple message, but still one that is vitally important, to remember that we do only have a limited amount of time, and that we shouldn't waste that time on grudges or anger. Though we all do and say things that we regret, we can't let stubbornness and pride get in the way of attempting to make amends for those mistakes. In the end, I had a lot of fun watching this movie and would definitely recommend it to fans of ghost stories, time travel, or fans of Downton Abbey. But these are just my thoughts, and I want to know what you guys think. Did you find the supernatural elements of the story too fantastic to be believed? Would you have preferred more closure with Tully's family and what happens next after his father's death? Please share your thoughts and opinions in the comments section on this video. I can't wait to hear what everyone thought, and I hope you'll join us next month for our April Friday Flicks meeting. Don't forget to stay tuned to the library's website and social media for more information about upcoming programs and events. We've got some great things planned for the upcoming spring and summer, and I can't wait to see you guys at the next event. Bye!